And a federal judge called out the Justice Department for not complying with her order to facilitate the release of a mistakenly deported man. Kilmar Abrego Garcia was sent to El Salvador last month, despite a protective order preventing his removal from the U.S. The Trump administration admitted in court papers that this was an administrative error. For more on this, let's bring in CBS News Chief White House correspondent Nancy Cordes. Nancy, good to see you this morning. Is the Trump administration acting, as far as we can tell, on any of these orders the judge has asked for? And really, is there anything that really can compel them to bring Kilmar Abrego Garcia back to the U.S.?
They are not doing anything right now to bring him back to the U.S. In fact, that was one of the things that the judge was most angry about at a hearing yesterday, Errol. She said the government has done nothing to bring him back, and they aren't keeping her updated on their intentions to do anything. And so she is ratcheting up the pressure. She's now saying that that certain administration officials are going to have to sit for depositions in the next couple of weeks to explain themselves, explain what they are doing. She put the two sides on notice that they should not take vacation, they should not take days off. She wants this addressed around the clock because it has now been a month or so that Kilmar Abrego Garcia has been held in a Salvadoran prison. So she is definitely trying to ratchet up the pressure. So far, the administration is resisting it. In fact, a lawyer for the administration said yesterday at that hearing that while he agrees that as the Supreme Court has said, that they need to facilitate the return of this man after he was sent to El Salvador mistakenly, that what that means in their view is that if he shows up at a U.S. port of entry, they will facilitate his entry into the country. And they made it clear they don't think they have any larger obligation than that.
And we know that the man's wife says she's really suffering throughout all this. I also want to ask you about the White House freezing funding for Harvard University, that institution pushing back. The president says the school should maybe lose its tax-exempt status now. Is that something the president is able to do?
It is not something that the president is able to do, and even the White House acknowledged that yesterday. They said that is up to the IRS. It is actually illegal for a president to try to tell the IRS to investigate a particular individual or entity and try to change their status. So Harvard's tax-exempt status is likely not in jeopardy at the moment, but the president is railing against the university again this morning. A short time ago on Truth Social, he said that this is basically a crappy university, a joke in his words, and that they should not be considered an elite university anymore. He said they should lose all of their federal funding, not just the $2.2 billion that he has frozen so far. He slammed some of their hiring decisions. This is a president that is obviously very frustrated that Harvard has essentially said that it does not want to make a deal with his administration because, in Harvard's view, that would interfere with its own academic freedom after the administration issued a series of demands in exchange for that funding, saying that Harvard needed to make changes to its hiring and admissions programs to try to ensure more ideological diversity.
And Harvard, I believe, older than the United States itself. A number of presidents came from that school, so remarkable to see this clash. Nancy, thank you so much for the update.
You're welcome.